Welcome to Natural Born Talents. Today's topic is the daredevil personality, or the orange aura. This personality type, though somewhat rare these days, they are kind of fun to watch as children if you're interested in seeing people who are just completely involved in the physical reality. As kids, they will be running around the room, climbing furniture or things, or jumping off of high places, wrestling with other kids, and basically getting as involved in the physical reality as much as they can in order to challenge it. They are thrill seekers. They like to take risks to test their prowess, to see how much punishment they can take, or how much dexterity they have, or what their strength is, or anything that they think they can overcome by physically attacking it. Though not violent people per se, they are very much attracted to things like rock climbing, the military, special forces, that kind of thing. Stuntmen, or some of them get into pro wrestling because they're very physically fit. And presently I have one in the karate dojo who just loves to climb all over the equipment we have there. And during school he'll jump out of nowhere and start doing his kicks and swings and punches to see how good he is, and always trying to get in a punch into his master to try to beat him. He really is a joy to watch if you're very much into watching people just take on the physical world. On the other hand, drives his mother and his parents crazy because of course they want him to study and to do something, but I try to warn him that there's only a few things in the world that he's going to actually enjoy doing, and I'll explain that in this video. If you have a child like this, I certainly can give you some recommendations on the kind of actions you could take to get he or she to study or to learn things they're going to need for today's modern society, as well as being able to use their skills for their hobbies and things like this. Okay, so let's get started. This particular personality type, of course called the daredevil, likes to basically challenge the physical world, which means they will take a bike and jump with it. They will get on top of the house or the school building. They do not sit very well for long hours at a desk studying. In fact, that's like putting a very angry tiger in a very small cage and poking it with a stick and telling it to do something. But basically, they're not necessarily what you would call stupid people. They just are not interested in anything that doesn't use the calculating mind to take a risk, a jump, a challenge, a fight. Some of the famous people in the past, like Evel Knievel, for example, would take his rocket car and shoot it over the Grand Canyon, or jump over hundreds and hundreds of cars and things like this. And if he broke every bone in his body, he wouldn't care. You just get to heal up and do it again. This is very, very typical of this personality type. One of the biggest problems, of course, is that they do make mistakes, and that will cost them their life or an injury that cannot be healed. This is sometimes causes friends and family a lot of emotional pain. But to them, without the thrill and the challenges of the world has to offer, life has little meaning. In fact, anything outside of their challenge that they choose in life, they just feel like they're just wasting time waiting for the next big thrill that they can get or create for whatever skill that they've honed. When they do plan some sort of challenge, they take great care to do so, and they'll go over in their minds over and over and over again what it will take to achieve whatever challenge that they're attempting. However, to test it out, they're going to actually someday do it, and this is of course when the moment of truth comes, whether they make it or break it. And for people who watch them, it's just a fascinating thing to see someone to take so much risk in their own lives just to create a challenge that just because no one else has done it, kind of thing. They can be intelligent in sort of the clever-minded side. They think like animals in a clever sort of way. And when they're stalking their prey, they'll try to mimic their enemy or adversary, and to see where they'll find their weak points and this sort of thing. So while they can grasp a lot of things that are taught in today's education, they much prefer the physical reality, and therefore they will not spend long times of abstract theory or anything like that. They want to get down and touch the ground, to feel the earth, to have their stunt motorcycle underneath them, or climb up the tallest building in the world and look down from it, and these kinds of things. For today's standard education, the only things that they're going to find they're going to use are things that are practical for daily life, or their challenges or stunts. So naturally, as far as relationships are concerned, they are very, very self-centered in their needs and quests to take challenges. They are not open for emotional relationships of any kind. The only time that they'll be active with their friends and stuff is, of course, when they're taking some sort of challenge or asking their friends to come along for a huge snowboard jump or something like this. That is when they feel alive and communicate with their peers. And therefore, in a relationship, they're not going to be the kind of person that you can change their way of thinking to move away from taking risks or anything like that. They'll probably end the relationship or just ignore you if you so try. So generally they can be, while not antisocial per se, they are loners. They are the specialists in their field. And while some may marry, they're not into a marriage relationship raising children. They're going to be focusing on their stunts and stuff, and probably having their spouse take care of the details of daily life so they can go out and make the challenges. Therefore, most of the other personality types have a difficult time keeping a relationship with this personality type. And if you're not willing to work with the physical reality so closely, as well as being aware that this is not a kind of person that's going to have real intimate relationships, they're going to only be interested in doing something out in the physical world. Even things like a sexual relationship is not going to be so deep and meaningful, because the main drive of this particular personality type is really just the thrill of the challenge. So where does the daredevil fit in modern society? Unfortunately, if they do not come from a healthy family, they're more than likely going to join a gang and become gang leaders, even though they don't have real leadership skills. They can become motorcyclists, or because they love the freedom and stuff. But that, of course, will lead to unwanted, perhaps even criminal behavior. On the good side, however, they can join the military and become special forces. They can become stuntmen for things like Hollywood or something like this. They do well in most individual sports like snowboard jumping or something like this, that it requires a lot of challenge and precision. Race car would be another profession they could get into. Some like become steeplejacks or work at high-rise buildings. Some will have to settle for humdrum jobs in order to just kill time and fill time before their next feat. They really don't care for making lots of money or anything like that, so finances, they may live on the edge a lot of the time, only to wait for their next exciting moment in risk-taking. So again, they can pretty much work in anything that has some sense of a challenge to it. Because they're not financial planners, if they do get married and try to raise a family, it'd be probably best to have the spouse take care of the finances while they work on making ends meet and finding their next challenge. If the daredevil's soul does begin to look inwards and begin to realize that their risk-taking lifestyle is only going to lead to an early death, then possibly they might shift towards other things that are less risky. However, this is usually not their way, and it takes many, many years for them to finally get inside themselves and say, okay, enough's enough. But having said that, some do retire and live to an elderly age, but most probably won't. If you have any questions about this personality type, just contact me. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you all again.